Hey, everybody. I love this bit, seeing the wall fill up. Sorry for being a little bit late. We've had some tech challenges on our side. And yes, your tech challenges are your projection. So obviously I've got a bit more to work on.
Hi there.
And I can see people that you're a little bit far away because I've set up the camera differently. So this is probably not going to look that great. But Dan Lake, I can see you. Doug Galanders, yes. I can see you, Chris Hallett. Mariel Delmander, hey, haven't seen you for a long time. How are you, darling? Great to see you. Jill Patterson, Caroline Day, Sue Hart, John Fielder, Ali, I can see you there too. Donna Baker, Donna, how are you? Shilpa Shah, Mary Lagon. Hi, Mary, how are you? Who else have I got? I can't see everybody, so please, if I'm not doing a shout out for you, it's not because it's because I just don't know you're here. Yvonne Roach, hi Yvonne. Sheila Wallace from Canada, hi Sheila. Stefan Huza, how are you, sir? Who else we got? People are joining like crazy before we start out. Sylvia. Oh, Sylvie, sorry, Sylvie. Phil Wells. Hey, man, I met your brother. We could. Rebecca Sanderson, great to see you. Romola Reddy. Wow, we've got these are the people I can see. I know there's more people joining than that, and I apologize for not giving you a call out. Normally, what I can do is I can look at the people on my iPad, and then I can see you all because I've got the camera further away, so I can use the flip chart. And then because like you're so small, like 49 people on my little iPad Pro. No, not my iPad, my MacBook Pro screen. So yeah, welcome. Session 8. Can you believe this? We're 8 weeks in to talking about perceptions projection. And obviously, this is, I've loved all of you being here. And, you know, not only those of you who take the time to be live, and I know there are certain people who get up at, well, certain people called Doug and his wife who get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning to be able to do the live. And I know there's a lot of people watching the recordings too. So anyway, it's been great being able to share all this information. I don't think I've certainly not shared this amount of information about perceptions projection before, and actually, I don't actually think anybody else has. So there we go. And just on you know, perceptions projection and development. You know, if you're in the development market, which obviously I am, I think you've got to develop yourself. So I've been doing some of that. One of my dreams was, well, not dreams, it was a goal, was to be able to integrate magic, not magic as in Huna magic, but magic as in, you'll like this, not a lot, Paul Daniels kind of magic. So I enrolled in a magic course a couple of weeks ago, and I just got these through the post today because I'm doing the training with David Blaine. And And I've got to say, it's been absolutely amazing. So far, I've not done that much of it. And there's a set of cards signed by David Blaine for me. And I've been watching magic and learning magic for a long time, and I'm doing this online course, and I'm learning stuff I've never heard of before. Even I'm blown away. There's this one trick I've got to tell you. There's this one trick, and I'm watching him do it, and I'm going like, no way. Well, actually, I didn't say that. I said something else. Let's keep this clean. And then I went, okay, follow the instructions. So I followed the instructions, and it worked. And I went like, no fucking, no way. And I still can't work out how it works, but it works. You know, that's one of the great things about what we're talking about here. You don't need to necessarily know how it works, just that it does. So we're on session 8, and money is your projection. So here's an interesting thing, right? So I just decided to put up here on the flip chart, you know, pound sign, euro, dollar, yen, and I didn't have time to put up some of the other ones, but some of them were like, you know, the derivatives of the dollar and derivatives of the yen and all that kind of stuff. Here's an interesting thing that I noticed for the first time. They're all crossed out. How weird is that? You've got like the pound sign crossed out, euro crossed out, dollar crossed out, yen crossed out. That's interesting, I think, from a symbolic symbology point of view, and from a symbolic magic point of view, which might be something we talk about in a future masterclass. You know, we are at now session 8 in a 10-week 10 session. So I'm already starting about what, you know, having to think about what we're going to do next. So if you've got any ideas as to what you'd like me to do next, I've got some ideas. I'm going to keep them to myself for now. But if you've got any ideas, then put them in the group, put them in the community, and I'll have a think about it and see what we can do. So money is your projection. I think this is really relevant at the moment. I know we've got an international audience here, but in the UK, the head of the Bank of England had just announced that inflation is at 9%, which is the highest it's been since 1982. And that, as the head of the Bank of England, he has absolutely no control over it whatsoever. Well, that inspires a lot of confidence. And but I was thinking, where was I in 1982? Well, in 1982, I was at university. I was at UMIST in Manchester, and I got a grant. In those days, we used to get those grants in 1982. And I had absolutely no idea whatsoever that inflation was running at 9%. It just didn't even enter my radar. I could go down to the student union, get a couple of beers. I could go out to the local fish and chip shop, get some food. I didn't know that inflation was running at 9%, which is interesting, isn't it? From a perceptions projection point of view, is it wasn't on my radar. It wasn't in my reality. So I didn't have that experience. I did later in the late 1980s when, and some of you, I know some of you are old enough to remember this, In the late 80s, your mortgage rate went up to 17%. No. And we'd all like pushed ourselves, I'm speaking for self here, all like perceptions projection, to get the biggest mortgage we possibly could. And then, interest rates went up to 17%. So it's one of those things. And I was thinking about it today. And, money has an equation. The equation is the amount of money you're bringing in, the amount of money you're spending, and then what you've got left over. And so therefore, from a mathematical equation, you've got two choices. You either focus on bringing in more money, or you focus on spending less. I know which one excites me more. I am not interested in spending less. That doesn't float my boat whatsoever. And when I'm focusing on spending less and on scarcity, as in saving money, my motivation disappears through the floor. Whereas when I focus on making more, that kind of excites me. So that's what we're going to talk about today from a perceptionist projection point of view. How do we bring in more money? So money is energy. I mean, I know we've got these things here, I've got some coins here, I can go and pick up a coin, and then, but it's not really real. It's gone. Because these are not real. Money is not real anymore. Your pound notes are not real. Your dollar notes are not real. Your yens aren't real. Your euros aren't real. And that happened a little while ago, but it happened under subterfuge. So I think a lot of people didn't realize that. So money has not been real for a long time. So therefore, money is energetic. Money is energy. And literally wherever you are in the world at this point in time, because money, all the money on the planet, I think I don't know what the Forex market is at this point in time. The last time I checked, it was around about $3 trillion a day moved through the foreign exchange market. So I thought, if I got $3 trillion in dollar notes, and I found out, I know this is very OCD. I know it's, but it's the kind of thing that interests me. If we got a dollar note, how thick's a dollar note? Right. Okay. Fair enough. And then we got 3 trillion of those dollar notes. Then that stack of dollar notes would go beyond the orbit of the moon. That's a lot of money. But that's how much is traveling through the airwaves every day on radio. The passion that I know many of you have, that the many I have. So money is not in short supply. It just isn't, because energy, well, also infinite amounts of energy. So the key thing is, how do we project out having the money that we want? Whether that's a few £10,000 or £100,000, millions of pounds, or whatever. And that's an important thing to realize, is that money has no inbuilt intelligence. Money's just money. It's just energy. It will flow to some people and it will flow away from other people. It doesn't go like, oh, there's a smart guy, let's flow the money down to him, and that guy's pretty dim, let's not go to him. No, it's all down to your projection. So, relating to what we talked about last week with what we could do about changing our projections, and we've still got the flip charts here. Let me So we talked about these things as far as like releasing negative emotions with therapy, mental emotional release, and O'Oku from Huna, aligning our values, aligning our money values, very important, particularly if your money values are away from rather than towards, getting rid of any limiting beliefs that we have, and then setting some real. Here's a thing really to think about with this. If you're going to set some money goals, set some exciting ones. Because, I was doing one of our PEBIs, and a lot of people have said, oh, we'd like to know more about PEBI, and I'll talk about a little bit more, not very much, towards the end of the session today. So I got a student who's with me. She'd done a lot of stuff with me before. And she said, and she was on Personal Empowerment Breakthrough Intensive. And she said, I cannot believe the amount of stuff I have let go of in just 3 days. And I'm going like, fantastic, good for you. And she said, but I thought I'd be excited. Whereas I don't feel excited, I just feel flat. And I said to her, well, have you given your unconscious mind anything to get excited about? She said, what do you mean? I said, well, exciting goals. And she said, oh, do I need to do that? And, if you put boring goals out in your future, do not expect your future to be exciting, because you've told your unconscious mind, I want a boring future. So put exciting goals out in your future, then your unconscious mind will get excited and will be significantly more motivated to take action around creating it for you. So here's a couple of things then that I want to, I know we started a little bit late, but I want to set you some tasking around what it is that you need to change around your projections on money. So here's the first challenge. So what I want you to do, and you'll have to share this in the group, you can do if you want to. First step, how much did you make last year? To you as to whether it's gross, net, after tax, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. Then, when you've done that part of the process, and I know some of you are going to start doing this already, that figure that you put there, I am worth that amount of money. Because if you truly believed you were worth more than that, then you'd be making more than that. So then you've got, I am worth whatever you made last year. So, if you want to make more in the next 12 months, you've got to change your ideas about how much you're worth. Because you'll never make more than what you believe you're worth. I wish it was more complex than that. I wish we could put into things like Brexit. I wish we could put into the conflict around Ukraine. And I wish we could put into, global inflation, global whatever. And you can't actually, because if that actually were the case, everybody would have the same experience. And I'm sure all of you here know of people that are having very different experiences. Either they're making a lot of money or they're not making any money, but we're in the same environment. So what's the difference? The difference is the projection. Now, so I am worth whatever you made last year. Then start doubling it. And go, okay, so let's say that you made 50,000 last year. Then go, okay, so I'm worth £50,000. Great. Let go of anything around that, because you've got to let go of anything around that. Right? So it's just a matter of fact. You're okay with that. I am worth £50,000. Then start doubling it. I am worth £100,000. I'm worth £200,000. I'm worth £400,000. I'm worth £800,000. I'm worth £1.6 million, or whatever currency you're working in. And you'll get to a point where you'll get uncomfortable and you'll go, I'm not worth that. Then you'll get to the point where you go, that is absolutely ridiculous that I could ever be worth that amount of money. This is all your projection on money. Now, we need to look at some other things when you're doing this process. What we're talking about there is like ridiculous amounts of money, etc. I'm not worth that. Then what we've got there is limiting beliefs. Though what you might have is negative emotions come up. You might have negative emotions like fear come up. Oh, making that amount of money would be scary. Well, you're never going to make that amount of money if you're going to project that onto that amount of money. Or you might have, wow, is it okay? Or is it right? Or if I made that amount of money, I'd feel guilty. Well, you're going to project that onto the amount of money you make. So this ties into what we talked about last week. This is about bringing up your projections out of unconscious. Now, I've got a lot of work for you to do. Because the next step in the process is what I call money, mind, viruses. And from a financial point of view, these are way worse than COVID. And they've probably been there for a long time. Things like, from my upbringing, I'm 59 this year. I was born very young. And, we had like, money is the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees. But when I was a kid, actually, it was made of trees. I know it's not now, but, it was made of trees. Or it's easier for a rich man to fit through the eye of a needle. No, it's easier for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. So here's the thing to do with this, is to brainstorm all of those negative sayings that you've got about money. Though at the moment, here's the thing, perception is projection. What you hear other people saying about money is also your projection. So if somebody says something about money and you get a charge off it, then you've got something to work on in your projections. If somebody says, well, it's because of global inflation, it's because of Ukraine, it's because of COVID, blah, 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 blah. And you go like, ooh, they're right. Because of perception is projection, you'll prove yourself right. So I'm going to give you one final thing, because I know I've run over already, but I know we started a bit late, but I always run over. Is a lot of people have been asking about Personal Empowerment Breakthrough Intensive. Here's a process which I'll share with you, which we do in the Personal Empowerment Breakthrough Intensive, and that people spend a lot of time doing tasking on. And this brings up your projections. We're talking about money specifically. So let's talk about this. You need some blank pieces of paper. And then on one piece of paper, you're going to go, money is. And complete the sentence with everything you can think of. Money isn't. On a separate page, then everything you think of as to how to complete that sentence. Then the third one, I don't have the money I want because those three processes will really bring up from your unconscious mind. And, obviously perceptions projection came from, we said it came from Carl Jung originally. We also said it predated Carl Jung. This would be a very Jungian process of what he would call free association. And I've done that process a lot, and I'm writing all these things out, whatever. And I'm going, I don't think that, I don't believe that. But then you've got to go, so where did it come from then? And where it came from was your unconscious mind, and also possibly from the shadow part of your unconscious mind. And if it comes out on the page, it's there. And it's in the slide that you're using to project out onto your financial and monetary future. I totally believe that every single one of you here can make and earn as much money as you want. Obviously, different people have different levels about that. And that's okay. And though, from perceptions projection point of view, watch out what you think and what you say about other people. When you see this flash person driving down the road in a multi-100,000-pound car, then the thing to do, both externally and internally, is to congratulate them. Good for you. Well done, mate. Because then your unconscious mind will go like, okay, do you want one of them? And you may or may not want a Lamborghini or whatever it may be. It doesn't matter. It's the principle. And when you congratulate somebody and think and speak somebody up, then what you're doing is you're speaking and thinking yourself up. That's what you're doing. When you put somebody down for the amount of money that they're making, then you're putting yourself down. And that's the way it works from a perceptions projection point of view. I feel like a evangelical speaker tonight. I was like, oh. Let's see if we got any questions. Oh, yes, we have. Yep. So Phil Atkinson. Hi, Phil. Not necessarily a question, more a comment, which I totally agree with. How about changing your identity? Yes, indeed. To develop a more abundant mindset in all of your life, a congruence identity which projects positive attributes. Yeah. Totally agree, Phil. That's one of the things we do on our personal empowerment breakthrough intensive. We do absolutely everything, and it is at the identity level. And that's the other thing, I think, Phil, that I think you're similar age to me. I think you might be significantly younger than me, actually, Phil. Is that I was taught you can have one or the other, but you can't have everything. And who said that? And if I can't find anybody who said that you can't have everything. Sheila Warris, currency of consciousness. Sylvie, I was brought up in a communist country. Adults didn't talk about money. They talked about the rottening capitalism, which said it all, that propaganda was a very dangerous virus. Yeah, Sylvie, I know people that were brought up in previously communist countries, myself, actually, particularly Bulgaria. Capitalism was, the evil, that was the, evil. And, well, I think we've got to look at our perceptions and projections on those two things, because capitalism works for some people and it doesn't for others. Communism works for some people and it doesn't for others. So in actual fact, it can't actually be capitalism or communism. It's got to be whether what the person's projecting onto that works for them or not. Phil, I don't know if that's Phil Wells, could be. After I left school at 16, I worked with a wine merchant for 3 years. He was a great mentor and supported me enormously. He said to me, "You will always be very comfortable, but never really rich." Is that my projection because I have worked persistently to break through that? Yes, Phil, that is your projection. And with what you know now, you can now break through that. And if you want to become really rich, more than comfortable, then go for it. Nick Barrow. Hi, Nick. The experience of saying in London one December night, "It's all right for that rich bastard to drive the Aston Martin. I'm sure he was just born with a silver spoon in his mouth." I then realized that we had just bought our first Aston a few weeks earlier. Loads of laughs. Felt like a right plum. Loads of laugh. Well, Nick, you and I both have loves of expensive cars. We've talked about it a lot in the past, and good for you. And your lovely wife as well with your Astons. And go for it. I mean, Tara, is that, I don't know if that, just got the first name. So Tara, how do you distinguish charging what you're worth versus charging your work, what your work is worth? Thinking along the lines of inherent human worth. Hey, that's a really good question, Tara, actually. I think the thing with it is, here is my thing with this. Was that I wanted to be able to offer what I know, what I can do to people who had no money or very little money. Like when I was doing all the work with the veterans and the homeless. And I realized that if I wasn't making a lot of money, then I wouldn't be able to do that because it wouldn't be sustainable. And, there was one morning that I worked with a guy. I worked with him for about an hour or 2 hours. And the result of me working with him netted him 9 figures GBP. That's like what, 100 million. He already knew how much I've charged, which a lot of people would say is an absolutely ridiculous amount of money. I charge £1,000 an hour. So he paid, let's say, £2,000, and out of paying me £2,000, he made 100 million. That's creating value. I mean, I quite often go like, I wish I'd just said, "James, how about I just charge you 1%? But he already knew how much I charged because he'd worked with me before. So I just charged him my flat rate, which a lot of people would say is absolutely ridiculous. And so he left 2 hours later. I was, £2,000 better off into my business account, which, as we all know, is not really £2,000 in your pocket these days. Was he happy? Yes, he was very happy. He then came back and wanted to do half a day with me to work on something else and to put another presentation together for him. And I said to him, James, what's this one worth? And he goes, 500 mil. And I'm like, okay. And I charged him my hourly rate, which, as I say, a lot of people would say that my hourly rate is crazy. But because I charged that amount, I was able to work with people who had nowhere near that amount of money. And if I hadn't have been doing that kind of work with those people, where I've created massive value for those people, by the way, work out the equation. 2,000 now, 100 million in, 5,000 in, 500 million in. These people are very happy, but they enable me to live the lifestyle that I want to live. Because my personal belief is, if you're doing this kind of work with people, you deserve to live a decent life. Personally, I decided that if I'm doing this kind of work, I deserve to live an indecent life. But that's what meant that I could work with these homeless people and the veterans or whatever. Yeah, I still did get paid because I believe there's got to be a value transfer. But I was being paid an absolute fraction of what I charged my other clients. But if I hadn't have done work with the other clients for that amount of money, I just wouldn't have been able to do that. Here's the thing you've got to get from a perceptionist projection point of view. You cannot give to other people until you're receiving. A lot of people are on like, give. Receiving's bad. No. If you're not receiving, you've got nothing to give. It's not sustainable. I hope that makes sense, Tara. Carmel. Hi, Carmel. Once we identified what comes up in the tasks, what do we do next? Well, timeline therapy, HUNA, mental emotional release, etc., the stuff we talked about last week. And, you could always take some time out next weekend. Come and join me for our Fix Your Mind seminar, where I'll take you through all that and you get it all sorted out in 2 days. Tomo, you can't have your cake and eat it. Yes, you fucking... sorry, yes, you can, mate. Yeah. One of the things that my mum used to say to me was like, don't ask for it to be easy, ask for it to be worthwhile. And then one day I went like, Mum, why can't it be easy and worthwhile? I think sometimes what we do is we stick oars where they shouldn't be, if you know what I mean. Phil Wells. I once encouraged a manager to spread her wings and go into the market as she could earn whatever she wanted. She wouldn't make that move or any other, as is wasn't okay to earn more than her dad. Oh, Phil did when he was working. An example of what you would... Phil, Thanks for that. 'Cause I had exactly that example. There was a day where I made as much money in a day as my dad made in a year. And I still consider my dad to have worked harder than me. Bless him. I just got his, actually, just, I've not got it in here actually, but I found his, the watch that I bought him for the Christmas before he died in the January of the next year, which was, so it was Christmas 1985. I just found the watch and took it to a jeweler's who's a mate of mine in Richmond, and got the batteries changed. It works absolutely perfectly. It's a gorgeous watch. It's hardly been worn, obviously, because he died a couple of weeks afterwards. And that was like 37 years ago. Oh, that did my head in. But I remember the day that I made as much money in a day that my dad used to make in a year. And, you'd think you'd be going like, hey, no, I was not doing that at all. I felt bad. I felt guilty that I made as much money in a day as my dad made in a year. Now, here's from a perceptions projection point of view. The thing you've got to think about is, if I hadn't have resolved that, would I have ever made that much money in a day again? Well, no, I wouldn't, because I would feel bad about it. I was thinking it would be wrong. And I would unconsciously, through a projection point of view, sabotage my own success. So, yeah, Phil, great one. Chris Hallett, hi Chris, yeah, I can see you there. I guess the saying money can't buy you happiness is also a projection and also a limiting belief. Yeah. Totally. I mean, I know a lot of people with a lot of money and they're miserable. I know a lot of people who are really happy and they've got no money. So therefore, the cause and effect relationship between those two, money and happiness, cannot be true. It's like that one was like, money can't buy you love. I was going to say something totally inappropriate there, but I'll just leave. Chris, I can see you laughing. You know exactly. Mind read, projection. I always remember I used to love Mrs. Merton, and she was interviewing Debbie McGee, and her opening line was, "So, Debbie, tell me, what was the first thing that attracted you to the multi-millionaire Paul Daniels?" I love Paul Daniels. Debbie McGee's a nice lady too. So, but it's that perception, isn't it, that a lot of people have, then we project it out. And then you start to go, because of that belief system, you start to go, okay, is he or she only interested in me because of my money? Or is she or he only interested in me because of what I do? And it's just all bollocks programming that we had from when we were kids. And the place that you got to look at really is your first 7 years. That's where the major imprinting comes in from a projection point of view. So, look at where were you in your first 7 years? Geographically, your parents' beliefs, your schooling beliefs, your family beliefs, cultural beliefs at that particular point in time, and that'll give you an idea about what's in the slide in your projections. And the great thing is that as soon as we've identified them, then we can change them. Which means we can step out of that saying, I think it was a Jesuit saying, give me the boy for the first 7 years and I'll show you the man. Well, with what we know, you can change that. You can become a totally different woman, you can become a totally different man than you were brought up to be in your first 7 years. No other questions coming through, so I know we're up to the hour. This is my the new David Shepherd 60-minute, 30-minute session, because I still haven't managed to do one in 30 minutes yet. But anyway, was that useful, guys? Give me a thumbs up. Brilliant. And please share this with people. They can get all of the back videos, so they can catch up. You've all got all the back videos as well. Please share out the community, the group. We're up to 401 people currently. Amazingly, my business partner James Mallinson was number 400. Then I had somebody say to me, no, he was 401, I was 400. And let me just find out. Let me have a look now. Yeah, Adrian Hale says like no, I was number 400 and James Mallinson was 401. And I haven't actually put anything out on the group yet, but I was actually going to put out there, I didn't have time to say that the 400th member would actually buy beers for all the 399 members previously. Which means that James Mallinson dodged a bullet by being 401. And Adrian, you've stepped into the chair. Be careful what you ask for. You might just get it. So next week, same back time, same back channel is going to be, I'm just going to put that down a little bit because I'm standing up now, is your body is your projection. So how sexy are you projecting? That's the thing to think about. How healthy are you projecting? So yes, that will be session 9. I'm already thinking about what to do for the next masterclass because I've so much loved doing this that I'm just going to keep it on a roll. To be honest with you, the group, great. Give me a thumbs up if you want to keep it on a roll. Yeah. I've got a couple of ideas. If you've got ideas about what you want, then put it in the group, the community. I've got a couple of ideas which I'll percolate over the next week or so, and then put out to you as far as like, okay, this is what my ideas about the next masterclass will be. Both ideas actually will be longer than 10 weeks. So there might be, one I'm thinking about could be a 13-week. The other one I need to look at even more. But I just love meeting up with you guys every Wednesday evening. I know some of you it's Thursday morning at terrible o'clock, and some of you it's the morning for those of you out in Southern California. I know we've got some people from San Diego checking in and all that kind of stuff, and then all the people who look at it on our review videos. So I'll get these videos uploaded tomorrow, so that then Sally can get them out to those of you that are registered, want to watch it again. Because I'm aware I'm just downloading a huge amount of information and very, very quickly, and you might want to watch it again, so that's fine. The flip charts I've done will be up in the group as well. And and for those of you that couldn't join us live for whatever reason, then hey, great to see you at whatever time you're watching it. So see you guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week with Your Body is Your Projection. That'll be a good one. See you. Thanks for joining me.